Okay, let's begin with a warm greeting to all. In just 15 minutes of attentive listening, we can absorb a wealth of knowledge that's not only enriches our communication skills but also reduce our hesitation while simultaneously preparing us for interview. So let's just start the meeting. All right, let's begin our presentation. Now I will pass it over to my friend Shuyesh to continue.
Rudransh, please give me just 1 minute. There's a problem in that presentation. I'll resolve that.
Okay, okay. So yes, I think it take much time.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So yes, you will start I will start the presentation of mine.
Just give me 1 minute, please.
Okay, okay.
Rudransh, is my screen visible?
So yes, there is a echo.
Just wait a minute. Now, is it there?
Yes, yes, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. So my topic for today's presentation is Google Cloud. So many of you might have heard about this about Google Cloud, as it is a very common platform which is available online, and it is made by Google itself. So let's find what exactly Google Cloud is. So Google Cloud is actually a
So yes,
collection of virtual resources.
you can full screen. Click
Okay,
in
just wait a
on
minute.
full screen.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay, so I was there in that what is actually a Google Cloud. So Google Cloud is a collection of virtual resources and of physical assets such as hard disk and components located in data entities around the world. So what exactly this means? So Google Cloud is basically like a database which actually holds the resources of an individual person. It can be a person or an organization depending upon the needs. Google Cloud is a public cloud vendor that offers a suite of computing services, including computing and hosting, storages, database, networking, big data, and machine learning. So Google actually has a very big database. As we all know that it is a very popular company. So Google developed Google Cloud Platform so that ordinary people like we students generally we create websites and we want it to host and so that it may reach to other people around not only in our country but around the globe. So Google Cloud is just like is the similar platform which provides a path for hosting our websites, storing the database of our particular websites or whatever the resource we want to store. So now moving on to the next slide. Now there will be a question that who actually invented Google Cloud? So the discovery of Google Cloud started in the year 1960 by J.C. Linkleiter. He was a person who actually invented Google Cloud Computing. It was not actually Google Cloud, it was cloud computing. The cloud computing term was used in 1960, and Google worked on that particular topic of cloud computing. And in 2008, Google launched its cloud service, which later on turned into Google Cloud Services, which I in the beginning of the presentation I told you about that it is a database that is used to store information. So as I've written in the second point that Google launched its cloud services in 2008 with a previous release of App Engine, a developer tools that allows user to run their web applications on Google infrastructure. The service became generally available in November 2011. So Google actually launched Google Cloud Service in 2008, but it was not publicly revealed. It was made public in the year 2011 after several testings, which helped Google to rectify the issues that were coming from the developed platform that was the Google Cloud. So Thomas Curran, this is a famous quote, and it's not a famous quote. It's actually the current chief of Google Cloud is Thomas Curran. He's an Indian American business executive head, and he's been holding that position of Google Cloud executive since 2019. And he's been doing a really great job over there. And he's working really hard to make Google Cloud Platform much better for not only for the users but also for organizations and companies that uses it for storing their database. Now, in this presentation, I've mentioned about some services which Google Cloud is providing. And in the upcoming PPTs, that is the presentation which we'll have in the next week, I'll be explaining about all these topics. So in this presentation, I have only given the headings of all the services which Google Cloud is providing. So the first service is Google App Engine. The second one is Compute Engine. The third is Cloud Data Store. The fourth one is Cloud Storage. Fifth is BigQuery, and the sixth and the last one is Cloud SQL. So there are much more services which Google Cloud is currently providing, but these are the most useful services which Google Cloud actually provides, and these services are being used not only by users but also by very big various organizations to store, not only store their database but also for hosting and other works. So GCP is Google Cloud Platform. So where exactly Google Cloud Platform is used? So these are the points. Google Cloud Platform is used for web hosting, as it includes virtual machines, containers, and loader balances. Retailers use Google Cloud Platform to power their e-commerce platform, personalized the shopping experience, and gain insights from customers' data. So I'll want to explain this second point, that is the retailers. So retailers, just like we all might have used Google Sheets. So in that Google Sheets, we manually type the required data. Like suppose I am buying something from a particular shop, and then the person has two options: either to type it manually or to use services of Google Clouds. So basically, Google's cloud services provides a formula for retailers to store their required data in the form of mathematical calculations, and in a easy manner, so that it is not difficult for the retailers as well as for the customer. The third one is storage facilities. So Google Cloud Platform provides, as I mentioned in the beginning, that it is a database. So it provides a storage platform for storing personal data of an individual, organization, or whatever the thing it is. The third one is networking. So about networking, I'll be discussing it in the next week, because as in the earlier I explained that in the upcoming PPT, I'll be explaining all the topics like cloud SQL, cloud data storage, etc. So in that I'll be explaining the network working as well. But over here, I'll just read out what the statement which I have provided in this particular presentation. That is, Google Cloud Platforms offers services such as internal networks, VPN connections, and cloud interconnect, which provides low latency, high availability connection that enables you to reliable transfer data between your Google Cloud's virtual private cloud VPC networks and other networks. Now, there's a question that will be coming in our mind, and that is Google Cloud literally free for to use? So let me tell you that Google Cloud is actually not a free version; it's a paid version. But there are certain tricks which we can use to get the free access of Google Cloud services. So one such um, trick which I'll be telling you is not any unauthorized trick. It's There is a platform named as Google Arcade that is being organized by. It is basically a competition that is being organized by Google every year, and it is just like a 6 month challenge where for 6 months you have to solve a certain Google Cloud services problems that Google will be providing to you. And on the basis of that, Google will be providing certain credits to the user. And using those credits, we can use the Google Cloud services for free. Otherwise, if we want to access without applying that trick, then there is a certain amount that is about $300 that we have to pay to Google for accessing the Google Cloud facilities. So now there is a question that which is better? Now there are two services which are being used, that is AWS services and Google Cloud services. So let me tell you that AWS services are much faster as compared to Google Cloud. But in terms of the necessary services requirements for businesses, etc., Google Cloud is a better option because it provides more features like storing data, web hosting, retailing services, networking, and there are certain limitations in AWS which makes Google Cloud much better than AWS. Although AWS is faster than Google Cloud, so depending upon the need, the user can select whatever services he or she may use or has to require. Now, in we are moving towards the end of the of my PPT. So here I have mentioned 5 interview questions that are most commonly being asked in interviews. So the first question is that we have that is being asked is to describe the Google Cloud Platform and its role as a high level. So I have mentioned the answer as well in this presentation. I'll just read out. Google Cloud Platform is a collection of cloud computing services by Google. It covers all major areas such as computing, storage, machine learning, and data analytics. The importance of GCP lies in the fact that it provides businesses with flexible, scalable, and cost effective solutions, enabling them to take advantage of Google powerful technology infrastructure. This in turn allows business to focus on their main concepts, leaving the technical complexities to Google. So, Google Cloud basically controls all the work that a user wants it to handle. Because we all humans want someone else to do our work. So, Google Cloud Platform does that job effectively for a person and an organization. Now, the second question that is most frequently asked is to explain the difference between cloud storage and cloud SQL. So, in this presentation, I haven't discussed about cloud storage and cloud SQL. I'll be discussing it in the next PPT next week. But I have mentioned the answer. If anybody wants to see whatever the answer is, he or she can refer to the answer which I have mentioned. The third one is Google Cloud Pub and Sub. So Pub and Sub here means Pub means publication and Sub means subscription. So these topics comes under BigQuery that were the services that Google Cloud platform was providing. So I'll be discussing it as well in the next presentation next week. But till then, I'll read out the whatever the description I have given. Google Cloud PubSub is a messaging services created for sending and receiving messages between independent application. It works on the principle of publisher subscriber model. Publisher creates and sends message to topics. Subscriber then receives those messages through a subscription of those topics. So to understand pub and sub easily, we can take the example of Google. So suppose if I want to see a particular video that is being published by a user. So there are two options. The publisher has to first publish the video which I want to listen. I want to see. Secondly, after watching the video, if I like that particular channel or video, then I'll be going for the subscription offer. Similarly, Google Cloud provides a message services using pub and sub, where a publisher is a person who actually sends the message, and subscription is the person who will be receiving the message, and on the basis of that, he or she will be taking or accepting those message. So Google Cloud basically provides us safety features of which enables it for safe data storage. Now, the fourth question is Google Kubernetes Engine. So this is a topic that comes under Google Cloud Storage. So you may read this description which I have provided, because I'll be discussing about this in the upcoming presentation, because it is a very vast topic that I have to explain in detail, and it won't be possible to discuss in one presentation. So decided that all the services I'll be explaining in the next presentation. And the last question, and the fifth and the last question, would be Google Cloud data flow and its benefits. So we all might have heard about pipelining in COA. So basically, a pipelining, we studied that recently. And what exactly pipelining means? So pipelining was a concept in which we were arranging the hardware components of CPU in such a way that overall performance of the system and the CPU system was increasing. Similarly, Google Cloud Data Flow arranges the data in such a format that the overall performance, that is the real-time access, fetching, and executing time of the data is increased. And it provides various benefits like automatic resource management, dynamic work rebalancing, and creating pipeline using Java, Python, SDKs. So these are the important benefits which we can get from Google Cloud Data Flow. So, and the next one is Google Cloud IAM. So IAM here means identity and access management. So IAM, just like it provides and stores the identity of an individual, data, or whatever the thing or resources which a person or organization is storing on the in the Google Cloud service. It only allows the authenticated person to access the data, thus blocking an unauthorized person to for gaining the access, which provides a security feature to database of an individual, which is very important as Google Cloud. As we all know that now that cyber security is one of the important topic, and it is very trendy also. So Google Cloud is providing this, which is very useful, and thus we can use Google Cloud for hosting our websites, etc. So, well, thank you. This was all from my PPT. If you have any question, then you can ask me.
Okay. Just a quick heads up. Our meeting will automatically end after 40 minutes. So there is a time of 9 minutes remaining. But don't worry, we will simply create a new meeting and you can access it using the same link before. Okay. So anyone have to ask the question from Suez? Okay, I think I should start my presentation. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible.
So let's start my presentation with Git and GitHub. I summarized the previous presentation of mine that Git, what is Git and what is GitHub. So Git is basically a distributed version control. Many times this question asks, what is this version control system? When we have to store a file for a single time, when we try to modify it many times, then every modification has a version. When we try to do it in text file, then we can't see the versions of the file. We can't see the modification. We only see the final file. But in the Git, we have seen the many level versions. Okay, that's the Git And GitHub is basically a repository hosting system by which we can host the websites, a remote sensing, what we call that remote access. When we try, then when a same time there are 5% to modify a file, and we get the final file through GitHub. We move on next slide. There is a problem. Okay. So my screen is visual.
Yes, it is visible.
So Git can track changes in files in any folder called repository. Like I previously mentioned, Git has a version control system. So that point clarifies that point. Git has its own file structure like JSON. Git has its own database where we can store our files. Git has its own file structure where we can store audio files, video files, but the format which the Git is the format which Git stores the files is different from all. Like JSON, they stores key value pairs, but in Git we mainly use the hash of the file. Like every file have different distinct elements, so that distinct element create a different hash, and that hash will be stored as a key of Git in database. Okay, the third point is every file is stored in a separate document and has unique hash. Like I previously mentioned, my point, Git has the when we open a file that has every file has distinct elements, so it creates its own hash that is unique from all, and that hash will be used as a key for storing that content. Git is simply persistent hash map that stores key value pairs. So hash map, that Git is simply persistent hash map. That clarifies the third point. Key is hash of the hash of the file, and value is the content of the file. Like I previously mentioned, that point is also Git stores all changes locally. So I summarized the previous slide that firstly, like when we create a text file, that in that text file there are everyone has distinct element. Everyone, when I create my text file, I have to write something else from other. So that content what I write in the file, that content basically changes its hash value, and that hash value is stored in a Git database. So when we try to get after some time, when I try to get my file, my text file, then I will go database and encrypt that file. Then I will see uh, what content what content I previously store in that file. That method is using Git cat file method. That cat file that shows quantification of the file. So in the next, Git stores all changes locally. Git stores all changes locally. Like we don't have to use internet to store the file in Git. Okay, Git could be used locally without internet, and locally you will have full access to file change history. Like we don't require any other server or network to change or store the files in Git. You may use GitHub just as a backup for your local Git repository. That is the main use of GitHub. Like when we like I will store my text file in Git, but by unwanted circumstances the file is deleted. We can't back up our file, but when we store that file in GitHub, that is play a role as backup. When we delete when by circumstances that file is deleted in our system, we can restore it using GitHub. GitHub is used primarily for distributed teams that work on the same project. Like our team, we work on a same project. So I mentioned it. GitHub is compulsory for all. Git is just a special file system. Like previous slide, I mentioned it. In second point, Git has its own file structure that clarifies Git is a just special file system. Like any file, Git can store. Git has many features like website hosting and GitHub has many features like website hosting, etc. So that these are the shell commands. Firstly, I will brief the shell commands, then I will show how they implement on real world, on real folders. Okay. So these I previously when I done my previous presentation, I will explain these commands. mkdir, that is make directory command, that makes a folder. ls command is basically list the folders available in that repository, that root directory. cd is change directory. When we have to when we have to, what we can say, when we have to work in a particular folder, then we have used the cd command to access all the elements of the folder. So, so I will continue from my next meeting because the time is over. Okay. You should join using the previous link.